can be what you wanna be. Be what you wanna be. You just be what you wanna be with me.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Happy AF. I'm Sambowker, and I am super excited that you decided to join me. So, I'm so grateful that you're here today, and I have got so much that I want to share with you. Everything from how to tame your inner critic, how to use fear as a propulsion to move you forward and get you progressing and get you winning this game of life. Because I have to say, the last few weeks for me have been crazy, and I have really had to do a lot of my own personal development around my internal critic. And so I want to share with you it's really interesting, okay, that whatever you are thinking about, wherever your attention and energy goes, you are going to find that there will be little messages that will come along that will either fuel you in the direction of where you want to go, or screech, essentially make you come to a screeching halt. And so I want to share with you what I have done in the last few weeks to overcome this. And I think it's going to be incredibly helpful for you because I am confident that every single person that watches this show at some point has found that their internal dialogue has stopped them from going out and doing something they want to do. And so I want to share with you something that I came across in the last week whilst I've been going through this process, and it was so cute. And it came in the form of a kid's movie, okay? So firstly, I just want you to think, okay, has there ever been a time that you've wanted to do something and you found that little voice inside of your head has basically stopped you, right? And it will sound something like this, and I'm gonna talk about it as though it's my inner voice, right? And my inner critic will say something like, Sam, who do you think you are? Sam, seriously, everybody's done that before. Sam, oh my God, seriously, there's nothing original about that. Oh my God, Sam, seriously, do you actually think that anybody is gonna wanna do that? Right? Now, my inner critic, she's pretty obnoxious and she's gonna have some serious words. And the thing is about that inner critic, she's really just wrapped up in fear. Now, if she was imagine she was like a 15-year-old teenager and she'd be walking around, skulking around, and she'd be basically doing a lot of eye rolling and that kind of stuff, right? And the thing is, though, that inner critic, she's trying to keep you safe, okay? And as much as she has the best of intentions, her job is to keep you safe, which means she doesn't want you doing anything different, which means essentially she's going to stop you from progressing and moving forward. And I am in this phase of my life right now where I'm really excited to be up-leveling what I'm doing. I've been in mad planning of a retreat, this event that I've got coming up in a week or so, and it's fully booked out and I'm super excited and everything is it's huge. It's amazing, right? But with anything, when you're running something and it's the first time you've done it, or anything you're doing, I'm talking about a retreat, but this could be anything that you want to do in your life when it's the first time, you are always going to have this internal chatter, okay? And that just makes you human, right? Everybody has it. And you need to learn how to quieten it down, right? Because the thing is that thing can become debilitating. So just hold that thought for a second. And first, know that if you have got this internal voice inside your head that is telling you don't do that or is warning you to stop or whatever, if it's doing that, just know you're not alone. Everybody has it. And I know this because of the work that I do, and also I like the fact that probably the number one thing that clients will come to me and talk about is their fears for, their anxieties or their phobias or their addictions. And all of these things, I truly believe, are steeped in some type of internal dialogue. Right? So let me just go back. I was watching this kids movie called Luca, last week with my daughter. And it is the cutest film. And if you've ever struggled with a bit of, not feeling like you fit in, or maybe, feeling like whatever you do, it's never going to be enough, or feeling like, I don't know, like basically the world is not your oyster, then this is the cutest film. And if you've got kids, it's definitely worth a watch, right? So there's this character. And they have basically created this little Vespa, right? So actually, first I should go back and explain to you, these little creatures, they're actually sea monsters, okay? But when they stand on the ground, they become humans, okay? Which is super cool. So anyway, and they're trying to blend into the world and they're trying to act like they're all human. And they create this Vespa, like they invent this little Vespa, like the Italian bikes, and it's super cute, right? So they've they've jimmied it all together and they're about to go down this really big hill. And this one little kid is like, oh, no, I don't want to do it. I'm too scared. And the other kid goes, oh, you know what? You're just having a Bruno. And the kid goes, what do you mean? A Bruno? What's a Bruno? And this kid goes, well, and this kid's name was Alberto. And he goes, well, that's when, you've got like, Alberto, you can't do this. And Alberto, you shouldn't do that. And Alberto this and Alberto that. And he goes, so what you have to do is you just have to go, Silenzio, Bruno, Silenzio. And this kid goes, so then that's what he does. So they're going there and they're like, Silenzio, Bruno. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. Like, yeah, I'm totally having a Bruno right now. My Bruno is so loud and obnoxious. And I'm wondering, can you relate to that? Like, have you ever had that moment where you've got this voice? So all week I've been laughing at myself every time I hear this like internal annoyance and this chatter that says things like, Sam, seriously, that's not the way to do it. Oh my God, that doesn't look any good. Seriously, you think you're going to be able to teach it like that? Oh my God, da 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 da, right? And I have just been sitting there going, Silenzio, Bruno. And if I can't shut it down, I've been jumping up and then I've been jumping on my treadmill, going for a bit of a walk. And as I've been doing that, I've been laughing as I've been listening to my voice inside my head, telling it to shut down by saying Silenzio, Bruno. So I want you to ask yourself, right? How many things do you not do because of your Bruno, right? How many times are the things that you would love to try, but essentially your Bruno is making it impossible? Because your job on this planet is to go out and shine bright, right? That is just your job. You were put here for some reason, for some purpose. Every human being on the planet is meant to be here, okay? You are worthy and deserving and amazing, and whatever it is that you are supposed to do on this planet, the only thing that is going to stop you from living that life fully expressed is if you listen to Bruno. So you need to learn how to shut Bruno down. First thing is to just basically say Silenzio, Bruno, right, which I love. The second thing is to understand that inner critic, that voice inside your head, it is actually trying to look after you. So go into a space of gratitude for it, but understand you just need to give it a seat because it's always going to be there. It might get quieter, but essentially it's not going anywhere. And when you are trying something new, when you are wanting to create change, when you are deciding to move forward and grow, that is absolutely when Bruno is going to get loud, okay? And so right now, that is, for me, Bruno is so loud. And every day I have to really sit there and acknowledge the little wins that I'm having. And some days I win more than others, and other days I'm like, oh my God, did I actually achieve anything? And then my critic will kick in again. So this critic that we all have, okay, it will be based on, or I shouldn't say it will be based on, your critic and how loud it is will often be determined based on a couple of things. Like one, how much you're trying to grow and how much you're trying to change, but also how you were raised, like how you grew up. Because if you had parents that, were constantly at you or giving you a hard time, parents always do the best they can with the resources they've got. But I don't know, we don't come, us children, with a guidebook, So my little girl, she did not come with a guidebook on how to do this properly. So I'm winging it, right? And I'm doing my best to not stuff things up. But guaranteed, no matter how good I am at what I do, I'm gonna stuff it up, right? My job as a parent is to basically wing it and learn as I go and hope for the best. And we all are doing that. So no matter who you are, if you're sitting here listening to this today, you came out of somebody who did their very best, right? So have a little look at the way that you do life. Do you find yourself a massive perfectionist, right? Because, hey, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I got to tell you, like, my perfection, she's been like super loud. Again, that's my critic. She's been out there all week. And I found myself whilst trying to create, because if you're going into a space of creation, I found her really, really obnoxious and loud. And I've needed to just kind of be kind to her. I've noticed myself eating, a little bit of chocolate, which has been my go-to in the last week. I've noticed myself super tired. And so when I found myself in this place, not only have I kind of given myself some grace, but I've also been looking for what are the resources and tools? Like, what have I got right now? So I want to walk you through what I've done to get through this. And I hope it will be helpful for you, because I need you to understand I am constantly surrounding myself with the right people. I'm constantly feeding my brain the right information. I'm listening to audio books. I'm currently listening to about 4 or 5 different audio books. Yeah, okay, like I'm an overachiever. But I find that I'll be listening to one that will be really helpful for one thing, and then I need something else, so I'll go and listen to something else. And that's just how I roll. But I'm always feeding this more information. And the way that I've I guess gotten to hack my brain in a way that it becomes incredibly resourceful is that I use fear, right? And I turn it on its head. So my fear of what people think and my fear of not being good enough and all of those types of things, that in the past stopped me from being able to progress and move forward. That critic stopped me from being able to progress and move forward. And so I stood still, right? Now, when I experience that voice inside my head, I have reframed it to understand that I'm growing. So I basically look at that situation and I go, okay, there's fear here right now. So I'm actually growing. So growth is good. I like growth. I do the whole silencio Bruno. That's just my new thing. I think that's super cute. I'm going to stick with that for a minute. And then I go, okay, how can I use this fear to actually propel me forward instead of make me reverse? And so what I've done is I've turned it on its head. I've gone, okay, at the moment, this project that I'm working on is creating, a workbook for my retreat. Now, do I need the workbook? Maybe not, but I want the workbook. And in my head, I've got a clear vision that this is how it needs to be. And I realized that the reason I was struggling so much with it was because I was trying to, compare things that I'd done in the past instead of just going, do you know what? I know exactly what I want. Why am I trying to sort of duplicate something over here when I really just need to create this? And I used the fear that I was experiencing, like the fear of it not being good enough, and I flipped it and went, okay, I have more fear associated with not finishing this because if I don't finish it, I'm not going to get the result that I want than being compared to someone else. So I just turned the fear around. The fear is still there, but I changed it so that it was something that was in my control. Because I can't actually determine how someone else receives something, but I can determine how I feel about it if I don't get it finished. So I noticed my dialogue, right? I stopped and I looked at it and went, okay, I have a real fear about this. Like, why? What is my old pattern? What is my old story that's stopping me from progressing forward? And I, realized it's steeped in my story about school and my story about not being good enough and my story about, administrative things are not my superpower. And I sat back and went, okay, well, this is all nonsense. Like, I know the content that I want to teach. I know this stuff like the back of my hand. I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Why am I getting hung up on something so simple? Oh, okay, that's because my Bruno is being obnoxious. So sit that one down. Okay, my fear of it not being good enough. All right, well, let that shit go. And I just turned it around. So I want you to really sit down and listen to what I'm saying to you about this stuff, okay? Everyone has an inner critic. We've all got one. Name it. Or just ask yourself, okay, maybe silencio Bruno. It's a Bruno. I love it. That's going to be my catchphrase. How's your Bruno going? Is Bruno not being kind? Shut Bruno down. Silencio. Silencio Bruno. I love it, right? So name it, okay? Then ask yourself, what is the fear? Is it a fear of not being liked, not being loved, not being accepted? Okay, cool. Sure, all of those are real fears. But at the end of the day, if I'm not liked, loved, and accepted, do I have any control over that? No. All right, well, do I like, love, and accept myself? Yes, I like myself. I choose to love myself, and I'm going to choose to accept myself in this moment. What am I more fearful of? Not being accepted or not getting this thing finished? Right, not getting it finished. So you know what? I'm going to let go of perfection, and I'm going to decide to not let perfect get in the way of better. Better is creating a workbook. Not having one is not acceptable as far as I am concerned. And so I'm also going to give myself the grace and flow to know that every single time I do this, it's going to get easier. Right? So I have pushed through the procrastination. I've pushed through the not letting, perfect get in the way of better. I've pushed through the acceptance and story and the nonsense that I've created in my brain of, is this okay? And I've just gone, do you know what? I got this. I know what I'm doing. So I wonder if that's helpful for you. I wonder if you could shut your critic down and if you could turn fear on its head so that it actually became a compelling reason to finish something as opposed to a reason for not even starting. I hope that's helpful. It's been helpful for me, and it's been something I've been working on this last week. And so my brain has been hardwired to look for reasons to achieve the outcome that I wanted. And when you're clear on your vision, you will find that you will always find a way to actually achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. This has been another episode of Happy AF. Turn fear on its head. Silenzio Bruno, shut that inner critic down and go out there and create the life that you want to live. Shiny AF, happy AF. Go for it, my friend. You deserve everything that this world has to offer. Love you. Bye.
You just be what you wanna be. With